They used to call you quick, quick to act, quick to help, quick to solve. But now your steps are more measured, your days more deliberate, your body takes longer to rise, your thoughts take their time, and somewhere along the way, you may have been told this is decline, that slowing down means you're falling behind. But what if it means you're catching up? Not with the world, but with yourself. Because slowing down after 60 isn't failure, it's wisdom in motion. It's your body, mind, and soul asking you to live differently, not less. In this video, we'll explore the psychology behind why older adults move slower and why that's not only okay, but often exactly what is needed. Let's begin. Part 1, the natural shift, how age changes pace and why it's healthy. As we age, our relationship with time, urgency, and movement begins to shift, both biologically and psychologically. This change is not a flaw or failure. It's a deeply intelligent transition that allows the body and mind to conserve energy, prioritize what matters, and tune into inner rhythms that were often drowned out by the noise of earlier decades. Let's begin with biology. After age 60, the body naturally begins to adjust in several ways. The nervous system slows its automatic stress responses. The fight or flight instincts that may have once been triggered by a work deadline or family crisis now soften. The body becomes less reactive, and that's a gift, not a weakness. Hormonal shifts, like lower cortisol and adrenaline levels, reduce the feeling of being on edge or in a rush. Joints and muscles become less elastic, requiring more time to warm up, stretch, and function without strain. This isn't deterioration, it's the body asking for gentler use so it can serve you longer. Cardiovascular rhythms adjust, and your heart may beat a bit more deliberately. This invites slower breathing, deeper relaxation, and moments of pause you didn't allow yourself before. All of these changes are signs that your body is working with time, not fighting against it. Moving slower is a form of biological wisdom. It's your body saying, let's stop rushing and start noticing. Let's also consider psychology. In earlier life, fast movement is often associated with survival and ambition. We're rewarded for multitasking, praised for productivity, and taught to measure our value in speed and output. But after 60, a quieter wisdom begins to surface. You may find yourself taking longer to reflect before responding, reevaluating what's actually urgent and what's just noise, listening more attentively, speaking more slowly, and craving deeper, not faster, connections. That's because the brain begins to shift focus from outward striving to inward integration. Memory, emotion, and insight begin to weave together. You are no longer racing to keep up. You are observing, understanding, and choosing more intentionally. In fact, research in gerontology and cognitive psychology shows that seniors often demonstrate higher levels of what's called crystallized intelligence, wisdom, pattern recognition, emotional regulation, and long-term thinking. This kind of intelligence benefits from a slower pace. It's not about how quickly you solve a problem, but how deeply you understand it. So when you move slower now, you're not lagging, you're leading a different kind of life. One marked by clarity, presence, and depth. Slowness also invites you to reconnect with your surroundings. You notice the wind brushing through the trees during your morning walk. You savor your tea instead of gulping it. You feel the texture of the world in a way you never did when everything was fast. This is what psychologists call experiential richness. It's the deep satisfaction that comes from being present, not just busy. And finally, slowing down is a protective force. It reduces your risk of injury. It supports better digestion. It improves focus, and it strengthens your immune system by minimizing chronic stress. In short, the natural shift to a slower pace is your body's and mind's way of saying, we've done the rushing. Now let's do the living. So instead of mourning the speed you once had, celebrate the presence you now embody. Because slowing down is not the end of the road. It's the beginning of a more meaningful one. And when you walk it, step by step, with care and awareness, you'll realize you haven't lost momentum. You've simply changed direction. You're no longer chasing life. You're walking with it. And that is a form of wisdom no clock can measure. Part 2, slower living, deeper thinking. The link between pace and presence. In youth, speed is often mistaken for success. The faster you speak, the more decisive you seem. The quicker you work, the more valuable you appear. The more packed your calendar, the more important you must be. But with age comes a redefinition of success. It shifts from external achievement to internal alignment. You begin to value what is meaningful, not just what is urgent. Slowing down gives your brain the space it needs to reflect instead of react. Psychologists call this shift a move from automatic cognition to reflective awareness. Instead of running on autopilot, you begin to choose deliberately what you say, how you spend your time, who you let into your emotional space. This mental shift invites deeper thinking. You're not just thinking more slowly, you're thinking more completely. The connections you make are richer. The insights you have are rooted in decades of experience, not surface level reactions. When you walk slower, you notice the world again: the petals on the flowers, the cracks in the sidewalk, the warmth of the sun on your hand. That awareness isn't trivial. It's called mindful perception, and it's linked to greater life satisfaction, lower anxiety, and improved memory. You may find yourself reflecting more, remembering people from long ago, connecting dots between your past and your present. This isn't nostalgia, it's cognitive integration. Your brain is doing the beautiful work of weaving your life into a story. You listen more deeply now, not just to others, but to yourself. You sense the difference between what feels draining and what brings you peace. You give yourself permission to say no to noise and yes to stillness. In conversation, your slower pace invites connection. You give people space to speak. You allow silence to do its work. You respond not to impress, but to connect. And in a world driven by performance, this presence is a rare and healing gift. In your slowness, you create space for yourself, for others, and for truth to emerge. And perhaps most profoundly, slowing down lets your emotions breathe. Instead of rushing through grief, you honor it. Instead of skipping joy, you savor it. You experience the full color of your feelings instead of just brushing past them. This is not a mental slowdown, it's a spiritual awakening. You might also notice that your spiritual or philosophical questions deepen. You're no longer content with surface level answers. You ask, what truly matters to me now? How do I want to be remembered? What is the quiet meaning behind my experiences? Slowing down gives space for these questions, not to be solved, but to be lived. In fact, many older adults find that creative expression flourishes at a slower pace. Whether it's journaling, painting, gardening, or simply storytelling, these activities often require stillness and presence. You're not creating for outcome, but for connection to yourself and to the beauty of now. And let's not forget, slower living also enhances relationships. You're more likely to notice someone's tone, to ask the second question, to linger after a story instead of rushing to the next topic. This depth makes others feel seen, heard, loved. Your slower pace is not a wall, it's a bridge to meaning, to intimacy, to inner peace. So when someone says, you're slower these days, smile gently, because you're not just slowing down, you're waking up to what truly matters. You're becoming more thoughtful, more tuned in, more present. And in this presence, you are discovering that every moment has meaning if you move slowly enough to feel it. Part 3: Fighting the Shame of Slowing Down. Society often idolizes speed, fast results, quick decisions, instant replies. From an early age, we're told that faster is better. Success is tied to efficiency. Slowness is equated with weakness. So when you begin to move slower after 60, when you pause longer before replying, walk more carefully, or take more time completing tasks, it's easy to feel as if you're not measuring up. You might hear well-meaning but hurtful comments. You're moving so slow today. Come on, keep up. You used to be quicker than that. These words may seem casual, but they reinforce a silent shame, the belief that slowing down makes you less valuable. Let's name this clearly. That shame is not yours to carry. In truth, slowness is not a symptom of decline. It's the result of deep adaptation. Your body and mind are responding wisely to changing needs. They're conserving energy for what matters. They're asking you to stop rushing through a life that deserves to be lived fully. But shame doesn't just come from others, it can come from within. You may silently criticize yourself. Why can't I move like I used to? I hate being the slow one. Everyone else is doing more than me. These thoughts can be painful, but they aren't facts. They're old stories that no longer serve you. Because the truth is, your pace is not a problem. Your rhythm is not a mistake. Your value is not measured in speed. Shame thrives in silence, but it dissolves in the light of awareness and acceptance. Begin by offering compassion to yourself. Speak the words you needed to hear. I honor the pace I move in now. I am enough, even when I am slow. My presence matters more than my performance. Then start to reframe the story. Instead of I'm too slow, say I'm intentionally present. Instead of I've lost my energy, say I choose where to spend my energy now. And know this, sometimes the deepest wisdom moves slowly. A tree doesn't rush to grow. The ocean takes its time to shape the shore. And your life, your beautiful unfolding life, is not a race. If others don't understand your pace, that's okay. Your path is not theirs. Instead of apologizing for your slower pace, invite others to match it. Walk with those who walk with grace. Speak with those who listen for meaning. Surround yourself with people who value your presence, not just your productivity. Because sometimes the most powerful energy in a fast world is the one who knows how to be still. And in that stillness, there is strength, there is clarity, there is you, fully alive, just as you are. You are not less for moving slower. You are simply moving differently, with intention, awareness, and depth. Let's take it further. Shame grows in comparison. When you compare your pace to someone younger, or even to your own younger self, you create a false standard. The question isn't, can I do what I used to do? It's, what does my body and spirit need today? You are not here to replicate your past. You are here to honor your present. You are allowed to move slowly, to pause mid-sentence, to take the handrail, to sit and rest. You don't need to explain these choices. You don't need to apologize for them. They are acts of self-respect. Even spiritually, many traditions speak of slowness as a path to enlightenment. The monk who walks mindfully, the elder who listens before speaking, the tree that grows for decades before it bears fruit. You are not behind, you are wise enough to wait. So take up space in your own time. Let the world adjust to you, not the other way around. And remember, the world may prize speed, but the soul finds peace and stillness. You are not falling behind. You are simply hearing life at a deeper frequency. Part 4, how to embrace slowing down as a strength. Embracing slowness isn't about doing less. It's about doing what truly matters with full awareness and care. Slowness creates room for meaning. Slowness opens the door to deeper relationships, clearer thinking, and spiritual presence. Here's how you can shift from resisting slowness to honoring it as one of your greatest strengths. 1. Practice mindful movement. Slowing down physically can anchor your entire nervous system. Whether you're walking through the park, doing light stretching in your living room, or simply rising from bed, treat it as sacred. Feel the weight of your steps, the rhythm of your breath, the stretch of your limbs. Each motion becomes a meditation. You're not just moving, you're arriving in the moment. 2. Reframe productivity. You may not be ticking off long to-do lists anymore, and that's not a failure. It's a recalibration. One deep conversation, one letter to a grandchild, one meal cooked with love. These are profound contributions. Redefine your productivity, not by volume, but by value. 3. Share your rhythm. Let others know that your pace is intentional. Instead of apologizing for being slower, speak from a place of strength. This is the speed I need to live well. Invite others to match your rhythm. Often they'll find relief in doing so. 4. Honor the space between things. Transitions are powerful. The few minutes between waking and rising, the quiet pause after finishing a task, the breath before responding in conversation. These in-between moments are where clarity lives. Slow living allows you to inhabit these spaces fully. 5. Return to rituals. Slowness allows for rituals to flourish. Small routines that give shape to your day and meaning to your time. Lighting a candle in the morning, drinking tea without distraction, journaling before bed. These rituals aren't luxuries, they're lifelines. 6. Prioritize depth over breadth. Focus on few relationships, but nurture them deeply. Choose one book and read it slowly, letting its lessons sink in. Invest in a single project that lights up your spirit rather than scattering energy across many. 7. Treat slowness as a spiritual practice. Monks, mystics, and elders across the world embrace slowness as sacred. Let walking be your meditation. Let listening be your prayer. Let quiet moments become your connection to something greater. 8. Listen to your inner clock. You are not broken because your energy changes throughout the day. Some seniors are most alive in the morning, others find clarity in the evening. Discover your new rhythm and build your life gently around it. 9. Say no to the noise. In a fast world, it takes courage to go slow. Turn off the news for a while, step away from chaotic environments, protect your peace as if it were your most precious resource, because it is. 10. Celebrate your unique pace, not as something to overcome, but as something to offer. In a culture obsessed with urgency, your presence becomes medicine. Your calm becomes guidance. Your story becomes grounding. Slowness is not a limitation, it's a form of leadership. When you walk slower, others learn to walk with more care. When you speak slower, others learn to listen better. When you live slower, others remember to breathe. And slowly, the world around you changes. All because you chose not to rush, but to live fully, wisely, deeply. Every season of life has its rhythm. In youth, it's about movement. In midlife, it's about mastery. In elderhood, it's about meaning. So when your pace softens, don't resist it, recognize it, celebrate it, because this is not decline. This is the wisdom you spent decades earning, finally catching up to you. Slowness isn't the absence of energy, it's the presence of purpose. And now, more than ever, your pace has power. It's not flashy, not loud, not urgent, but it's steady, intentional, rooted. Your slowness is not a retreat, it's an arrival into presence, into clarity, into truth. Where once you rush to keep up, now you listen to fall behind, on purpose, to stay with what matters, to walk beside wonder instead of running past it. This new rhythm, it's the sound of your soul breathing, and in it, you rediscover the richness of your own life. So don't mourn the speed you lost, honor the pace you found. Walk slowly, speak gently, live fully. You are not falling behind, you are finally walking in step with your soul. Because sometimes it takes a lifetime to finally move at the speed of meaning.